Self-Confidence, the Spartan and Special Operations Way to Overcome Fear and Building an Elite Mindset. Written by Ryan Hunt, narrated by Russell Newton. Chapter 1. The Spartans and the Special Operations Forces. Who are the Spartans? The first thing that you need to do is to learn more about the Spartans. You have most likely heard of them from books, movies, and pop culture. The Spartans were known for their self-discipline and fearlessness. They lived in Sparta, a Greek town situated in the southern Peloponnesian region. Today, Sparta is just like any other modern urban jungle, with concrete blocks of apartments and offices. Thousands of years ago, just hearing the name Sparta sparked fear, admiration, and reverence, because the place was home to the most powerful warriors in ancient Greece, the Spartans. Countless stories have been written about them because their training is something to be admired. They became successful warriors and beat even the most powerful of rivals because of the kind of discipline they had. Aside from self-discipline and fearlessness, the Spartans are also known for their humble society. Ancient Greece back then, especially in major places like Athens, favored creating sophisticated structures made of marble. Sparta, on the other hand, maintained its cultural values of simplicity and austerity, with most of its structures built from wood and other simple yet sturdy materials. They focused mostly on military training and did not bother with frivolous and luxurious things. Their life revolved around being a successful warrior society, from the time a Spartan baby was born up to his death. This is probably one of the things that made them extremely successful warriors. Their goal was clear and straightforward, and every little thing that they did was geared towards achieving this goal. Their education system, called the agoge, was all about training the little boys to become exceptional soldiers. It's like a boot camp from daycare to college. They were also taught basic arithmetic, reading, and writing, because a great warrior must also have basic knowledge of things. But the education system was mostly about building physical and mental toughness by undergoing intensive training and dangerous exercises. In today's world, the kind of training that the Spartans had to go through may not be applicable, but you can learn a lot of things from these extraordinary people. How did the Spartans train? Human rights are not a common topic back in the day, and you'll see a lot of violations in how the Spartans trained. However, you can still learn a lot from these ancient warriors in terms of the kind of mindset that you should have to be self-confident. So, what kind of training did the Spartans undergo? Training started from infancy. When a Spartan baby was born, he had to be inspected by a council to see if the baby was fit to become a soldier in the future. If physical defects were observed, the baby would be left to die or thrown at the foot of the mountain, although the latter was considered a myth by most historians. If the child was lucky, he would be rescued by strangers. If not, he would either die from animal attacks, exposure to the elements, or hunger and thirst. The lives of those babies who were... Chapter 2. What is confidence? You have probably read and heard about self-confidence throughout your life, ever since you can remember. How many times have you heard your parents tell you to be more confident when in school, or to be more confident when answering questions during an interview? What is confidence exactly? This may sound cheesy, but confidence is believing in yourself, your skills, and your abilities. It is having positive regard for and views towards yourself. The word confidence itself has its roots from the Latin fidere, which means trust. Therefore, having self-confidence is trusting yourself. How to know if you have confidence? You know that you can handle anything that life throws at you. You're more in tune and relaxed with your life, and your response to everything seems smooth and natural. For you, and maybe those people around you, everything looks easy, or everything has a solution. This is because you believe in your abilities and what you can do. Keep in mind that this is different from being arrogant, because arrogance is shouting to the whole world that you are the best. Confidence is quiet, and the result of your actions speak for itself. Arrogance makes people dislike you. Confidence, on the other hand, inspires. Just look at the Spartans and Special Operations Forces. The Spartans have long been gone as a society, but their principles still live on. They left a mark in history as some of the most fearless and confident people that have ever graced this planet. The Special Operations Forces are also known for their excellence in everything they do, and their confidence in the way they handle sensitive operations. This is what you should strive to be. Confidence is also reflected in how others see you, because it is apparent in how you look and sound. Just keep in mind, though, that having self-confidence is not enough to be charismatic and an inspiration to others and have. It also depends on your communication skills and how you build rapport with the people you talk to. Self-esteem and self-confidence. These are two words that have been used interchangeably. You already know that self-confidence is your belief in your capabilities. Self-esteem, on the other hand, is your sense of self, or your self-worth. Although it may seem logical that people who have high self-confidence would have high self-esteem, this is not always the case. Just look at the number of successful and confident artists who could perform in front of thousands of people, but later on killed themselves. They were confident in their craft, but they had a poor sense of self-worth. It can also be the other way around. You may have high self-esteem, and you know that you are worthy, but yet you do not have the confidence to do certain things, such as talking in public or acing that exam. People with high self-esteem are those who do not care about having a high income, status, or other materialistic pursuits because they believe these things do not define their value as a person. They do not need to rely on crutches such as drugs or alcohol. This is a higher form of cognitive principle that you should also aim for. But this can be easier to achieve if you first take care of your self-confidence issues. Chapter 3. Fixed and Growth Mindsets. The two basic mindsets, fixed versus growth. Before you learn about the Spartans and Special Operations Forces' secret to having self-confidence, you first need to understand the two types of mindsets, the fixed mindset and the growth mindset, and which group you belong to. A fixed mindset is having the belief that everything that you have, your intelligence, personality, skills, character, and abilities, are innate and constant givens. This means that whatever happens to you in life, whether you fail or succeed, is a result of these static traits that you already have since the day you were born. There might be changes as you live your life, but these are not significant and do not affect whether you succeed or fail in life. The other type of mindset, the growth mindset, loves taking on challenges because they see them as a way to grow. Instead of being discouraged when they fail at something, they feel more encouraged to do better because they see it as a challenge. This means that people who have this kind of mindset have a bigger chance of succeeding because failure does not scare them. You have to understand that the way you behave and your response to unfamiliar situations and new tasks depend on the kind of mindset you have. If two people are offered a promotion, but with bigger work responsibilities, one has a fixed mindset and the other has a growth mindset, the first person with the fixed mindset will probably turn down the offer, thinking that he may not be able to do it because he does not have the right skills, while the second person will enthusiastically accept even if he lacks the skills, because he knows that he can learn them as he goes along. People who have a fixed mindset always have this belief that they need to prove themselves to others over and over again. Since they believe that their intelligence, personality, and other traits are fixed and inherent, then they feel like others should always see them as intelligent or highly skilled, because if they show a deficiency, they think it's the end of them. It's always like a black and white scenario for these people. Either you got it or you don't. On the other hand, we have the growth mindset people. People who have a growth mindset believe that the intelligence and traits that you're dealt with in life can still be developed and cultivated. Everything is free-flowing and can still be changed. Just because you were born a certain way does not mean you can change. And because of this mindset, these types of people have higher chances of succeeding in life because they are open to anything. This does not mean that they believe that anyone can be anything they want to be. It does not mean that with enough practice and training, you can be as good as Bach or Mozart, even if you do not have any musical affinity whatsoever. It does not mean that you can be as intelligent as Einstein if you study hard. This is not what having a growth mindset means. It means that whatever you already have, you can still cultivate it through the right training and practice until you reach your full potential. Another main difference between these two mindsets is that Chapter 4. The Mindset of an Elite Spartan Warrior. You already know by now the reputation of the Spartan warriors as elite soldiers to be reckoned with. They were dominant, and most ancient military forces, not only in Greece, but also in neighboring countries, feared the Spartans. How did these men always come out on top? How did they always achieve victory, no matter what the circumstances? The Spartans had a singular or black and white mentality when it came to war. The only goal was to win. Nothing more, nothing less. Even if they did their best and the odds were against their favor, they would still be considered failures by their families and other citizens if they lost. This is why it was unimaginable for a Spartan warrior to lose, because they would not only lose the war, they would also lose their purpose of living. Before they went to war, they had to have 100% confidence in their abilities. Self-doubts and second-guessing had no room if they wanted to succeed. So, what kind of preparations did the Spartans do? The following paragraphs will tell you more about the Spartans, how they prepared, and their fascinating mindset when it comes to winning. It will surely inspire you to become just like them, because they are the kind of people who achieve anything they want, no matter what, if they put their mind to it. Appearance is a powerful self-confidence tool. Sometimes there are days when you do not feel confident because of the way you look. There are also days when you look in the mirror and you cannot help but think how great you look, and it instantly boosts your confidence. Many people say that focusing on your physical appearance is a shallow thing to do, and your appearance should not be the basis of your self-confidence. But you cannot deny the fact that physical appearance plays an important role in how you feel about yourself. What makes it negative is when you rely solely on your physical appearance to attain self-confidence. Let's take a look at the Spartans. If you think they only focused on training and skills, you are wrong, because the Spartans also paid close attention to how they looked. They made sure that their reputation as formidable enemies matched how they looked. This helped a lot when it came to intimidating their opponents, even before they started their attacks. Just looking at the Spartans would inspire fear and awe among their enemies. Aside from their physical prowess, Spartans were known to terrorize their enemies with their physical appearance. Before they even took out their weapons, their enemies would start to feel fear, not only because the Spartans' reputation preceded them anywhere they went, but also because of the way they looked. They wore a scarlet tunic and a cape, which they took off before they started fighting. According to historians, the color scarlet was chosen for their battlefield attire because it was the color most suitable for war and was not commonly used in women's clothing. Another theory is that scarlet is the color of blood, and any wound or injury, a sign of weakness, would be well hidden because the blood would just blend in with the clothing. The enemy would not know. Chapter 5. The Mindset of a Special Operations Soldier. The closest modern counterpart of the Spartans is probably the Special Operations Forces. These warriors are trained not only to fight, but to perform special operations missions and tasks that are not included in the responsibility of a regular soldier. Tasks such as counterterrorism, infiltration, espionage, and so on. A member of any special operations unit should have the right mindset if they want to succeed in their tasks. Here are some of the things that you should try if you want to have the mindset of an elite soldier. Turn on your survival mode. If you know that what you need to do is a matter of life or death, you'll have a greater motivation to succeed. Elite soldiers are usually faced with decisions that will either make them live or die. Sometimes it is even worse, because they have to think not only for their own good, but for the good of their team, or even a whole nation. Sometimes their actions and decisions will affect the fate of the whole world even. This is why there's no room for second-guessing yourself if you are a part of this elite team. When you're driving and the car in front of you suddenly stopped without warning, you do not have the luxury of time to think about whether to swerve or to put on the brake. You just have to confidently follow your first gut instinct, because deciding to swerve to either left or right, then changing your mind a split second later to put on the brakes instead, can cause an even bigger disaster. You can apply this to your journey of achieving self-confidence. If you know that you need the confidence to survive in this dog-eat-dog world, then you'll try your best to build your confidence. If you know that the roof over your head and the food on your plate depend on you accepting new tasks with bigger responsibilities, then you will muster everything you have to get that confidence you need. If you know that your family depends on you, and all you need to do is to have the confidence to try, then you will have a bigger motivation to go for it. It's just having the right mindset and thinking that you need your self-confidence to survive that will do the trick. Always have an escape plan. This is one of the things that they teach Special Operations Forces. Always search for a possible escape plan when going somewhere, especially if it is an enemy's territory. These elite soldiers are almost always in situations that require an escape plan. This is why, when they plan an attack, they always study the area or building first. They'll check the entry and exit points, and will look for an escape route that they can take, especially if things do not go according to plan. Whether they find themselves in a familiar place like a local Starbucks or a government office somewhere in Afghanistan, they will make sure that they know where to go when things go bad. This is also true when it comes to building the right mindset for success. It's like having a plan B. For example, if you decide to put a huge chunk of your savings in business, you should have a plan B, just in case the business does not succeed. It is like an insurance that will... Chapter 6. Overcoming Fear to Gain Self-Confidence. Did you know that the biggest obstacle in having self-confidence is fear? There are instances when you know what you need to do, but you're too afraid to try. Ask anyone you know, and they most likely have at least one thing that they are scared of doing. It doesn't have to be a phobia. It could be something like fear of commitment, relationships, public speaking, trying new things, or failure. In some cases, these fears are caused by your past experiences. Maybe in the past you had been hurt by your long-term partner who made you not want to commit to a serious relationship. Or maybe you completely blanked out while speaking in public for the first time in your life, and you do not want to experience the same thing again. However, there are instances when these fears are illogical. Sometimes you're just scared to do something for no particular reason. Your mind just tells you that you cannot do it, and you believe it, even if it is not true. But you have to remember that the feeling of fear is real. It is not an illusion that you can easily ignore. Even the bravest men in the world experience fear at one point or another in their lives. It only becomes detrimental when this fear is unreasonably magnified and it becomes the only thing that fills your head. Instead of focusing on what you can do, you let fear take control of your life, and this keeps you from doing things. Special ops guys are often faced with fear. They also experience panic or the fight or flight dilemma. Panic keeps them from thinking clearly, and this is a big no-no when they're on a mission because it can mean life or death. But for these guys, they do not allow fear to master them because then they'll not be able to accomplish their missions. So, what do you need to do to overcome fear and gain self-confidence to do things? Use fear to your advantage. It may sound impossible to do, but this is what most military men do. If they look at fear as something they need to evade and escape from, they will find themselves in even worse situations because it is something that you cannot escape from. Like what was mentioned earlier, fear is real, and the thing that you are afraid of is real. Whether it is a major job interview, a large credit card bill, or a big life decision that you have to make, it exists, and you have to face it sooner or later. Remember the movie Confessions of a Shopaholic? The lead actress always kept her credit card bills in her drawer, unopened. She did not want to look at them, as if her debts would go away if she ignored them. Eventually, she realized that she has to be an adult and face her problems by going to the bank and talking to them. This is how you should handle fear. Face it head on. And how are you going to use it to your advantage, you might ask? You're probably obsessing over your problem already. So use the information and scenarios that you have built up in your head in coming up with a solution to your fear. Look at it in a positive light. For example, if you are afraid to speak in public because you know... Chapter 7. Mental and Emotional Toughness. Now that you know how the Spartans and Special Operations Forces trained to achieve that level of confidence, you should now learn a few more techniques and tips that you can use in your everyday life, whether it is for your personal or work needs. Caring for your physical, emotional, and mental health. Taking care of your body is probably the easiest thing to do, although many people still neglect to do it. You need a balanced diet, do regular exercise, and get enough sleep every day. What about your emotional and mental health? Did you know that your mental and emotional health also affects your physical health? There's a physical manifestation, such as high blood pressure, chest pain, and ulcers if you don't take care of your mental and emotional health properly. Do not allow it to come to this, and read through the following tips on how to care for your mental and emotional health. Boost your support system. You have to strengthen your circle of friends who will be there to support you when you need it. This does not necessarily mean that you have to be friends with more people. According to the Spartans, minimalism is the key to success, and you should eliminate the ones that you do not need. It means that you should focus more on the quality of your friendships than quantity. Just maintain friendship with the ones that are genuinely your friends. Friendship goes both ways. These are people who you know will be there for you through hell and high waters, and you know in your heart that you will also do the same. Learn about your mental and emotional health. It was only in recent years when people started paying attention to their emotional and mental health. Before, it was always about physical health. If you look at the training of special ops units, they now have something for improving mental health. These people perform high-risk tasks and experience mental traumas, and their mental health must be at its optimal condition. You need to learn more about it. If you are suffering from anxiety, you need to learn more about the different causes and triggers. The more you know, the less you will be afraid, and the more confident you will be. Be active. Like what you learned about the Spartans, they did not like being idle, even when they were not preparing for war. Doing some physical exercises every day keeps the blood flowing and keeps you from thinking about negative things. If you are under medication, or even you do not need medication but you have mild depression, regular exercise is a good partner and can help a lot. It is also a great way to clear your head. You see this all the time in the movies. The lead characters are fighting, and one of them will go out for a run to clear his head. When he comes back, he would be in a better mood because he was able to think things through. Start a new hobby. This is more than just learning a new skill or talent. It is about igniting that passion that you have in you. Look at the people who invest time and effort in doing things that they... Chapter 8. Take action. Turn yourself into an action taker from a mere passive observer. There are also actions that you need to take to become a confident individual who is successful in life. There are so many sayings that place value on taking action. Action speaks louder than words. Walk your talk. Practice what you preach. This is because the action will lead you to the success that you are craving. It's not only about changing the way you think or feel. The driving force behind everything in this world is action. Unless you get up and start your day will not happen, will it? Some people are afraid to take action because they're afraid to fail. They would rather not do anything than take action and fail. But ask yourself, what if you succeed? It is a 50-50 chance. The Spartans were always active because they understood the importance of taking action and how being idle gave room to negative thoughts like fear and self-doubt. Stop being an observer of other people's success and start taking action. Studying about the Spartans and the special operations units will not do you any good if all you will ever do is study. Put everything into action, and you'll see how far you will go. Stop overthinking. This is easier said than done. especially for some people who have the tendency to think about things that happened even years ago. If you've made mistakes in the past, snap out of it and focus on the present. Although learning from the past is a good thing, overanalyzing past mistakes until you become paralyzed with fear will prevent you from taking action. To be confident in taking the first step towards doing something new and different, you have to move on from the past. Just chalk your past mistakes up to experience, and you'd be good to go. When you find yourself remembering the past and you start doubting yourself, just breathe deeply for a few minutes and stay in the moment. Tell yourself that it is all in the past, and you are starting anew. Once you do this, you'll find it easier to take action. Just imagine the kind of past mistakes that the special ops soldiers have to move past. It must be difficult for them, but they're still able to do it. Tell people about your goals. How many times have you told yourself that you'll lose weight, but you always end up not doing it anyway? But if you tell other people about it, you will feel more committed to your goal because you do not want to disappoint them, or you will feel embarrassed about giving up. You do not want them to see you as a failure, especially if it is something as simple as losing weight. Aside from giving you accountability, telling your loved ones about your goals is also a form of motivation. They will be there to support you and build up your confidence in achieving your target weight. They might even join you in your journey to a healthier you. Your loved one can also remind you about what you have already done whenever your motivation is low, so that you will not give up. It is even better if you are doing the same thing for them. Hold yourself accountable. Although it is nice to have someone who will be there to support you and boost. Chapter 9. Overcoming Adversities. Special operations units have been through a lot more than an average person. Imagine fighting terrorists or other high-skilled opponents in unfamiliar territory, or going on a mission that is often a matter of life or death and affects not only your team but your whole country or even the whole world. It is a tough life for them. However, you still see them overcoming one adversity after the other with confidence, as if they were born to do it. The truth is, the kind of training that these men have to go through is some of the toughest training for the physical and mental toughness. An ordinary man will give up. Only the strongest and the bravest finish the training and become full-fledged special ops soldiers. You can learn a lot from these tough men when it comes to overcoming adversities. Here are some of their tips. Prepare. In one of the previous chapters, it was mentioned that you can never fully prepare for anything. This is true, but going to the war without preparing at all is another matter. You can prepare for a typhoon by stocking up on food, water, flashlights, and so on, and once the typhoon comes, you will still have to adjust and overcome minor adversities. But at least you prepared, for the most part. Over-preparing and using this as an excuse to not do something is what you should avoid. Special ops forces are the masters of preparation. They do not go on a mission without preparing. Their whole process of preparation is intensive. After all, they will be going to a foreign place or conduct an espionage mission. These tasks require a lot of prepping and planning. They cannot just go there and rely on sheer luck, because that will shortly fail. When they need to go to an unfamiliar location, they would study the location as if they are PhD students and the area is their research topic. They'll check the topography, bodies of water, climate, weather, demography, economy, infrastructures, history, and so on. That's why they can easily blend in, and working undercover is not a problem because of the kind of research they do. You do not necessarily need to prepare as intensely and thoroughly as the Special Forces. Just make sure that your preparations are enough. You will know if it is enough when you already feel confident about what you are going to do. Be creative. Creativity is probably a word that is not often associated with the military. Individuality is not encouraged in the military because they have to follow orders and act as one unit. The whole idea of the military is working as one unit. If one is not cooperating, there is a big chance that the mission will fail. However, when it comes to the special ops soldiers, creativity is a must. This does not mean that they have painting or creative writing classes. It only means that they need to be creative when it comes to solving problems. They should be resourceful because what they have prepared for might be completely different from the actual situation they will find themselves in. You should be able to make quick and sound decisions when the situation calls for it. When these soldiers are in the field, they do not have someone to call or ask for help if something does not go according to plan. Chapter 10. Setting Goals. You want to be self-confident in life because you have goals that you want to reach. But it also works the other way around. When you set goals, you become more confident because you know what you want in life. You should always look for the next level to keep you motivated in life. Having goals allows you to see yourself years from now. The Spartans' ultimate goal in life is to become the best warriors and to win battles. The Special Operations Force's goal is to accomplish their mission. Setting long-term goals for the future gives you a vision, and short-term goals give you motivation. You must know the proper way to set goals. You cannot simply say that you want to be successful in life because there's more to it than simply saying it. Here are the things that you need to know when it comes to goal setting. Your personal goals. Most people's goal is to be successful in life. You have to be specific because your definition of success may be different from others' definition. Create a clear vision of where you see yourself in the future. This can be your personal goal. Also, list the things that you have in that vision. Is it a family, your own house, a business, a higher position, etc.? Then break these down into smaller goals that you can achieve in a shorter time. Once you identify your short-term goals, you can then start working on them. Here are the specific steps that you need to follow when it comes to setting goals. Set long-term goals. As discussed previously, you first need to know your long-term goals or your life goals. This does not mean that you need to plan your entire life up to your death, but ask yourself what you want to achieve in the foreseeable future. If you are not yet married, maybe you want to have your own family. Maybe you want to migrate overseas with your family, or maybe you want to start an online business. These are major life goals that affect your decisions for you to be able to reach them. If you are at a loss and you do not know where to begin, you can examine different areas of your life and ask yourself what you want to achieve in each of them. Relationship. Do you want to get married to your current partner? Are you planning to move in together? Or maybe you do not want to get married in the future. Family. Do you want to have kids? How many? What kind of parent do you aim to be? Do you want to make it a point to visit your parents and siblings at least once a year? Career. Are you aiming for a higher position? Do you want to stay in the same company or change jobs? Are you planning to start your own business? Financial. What is your retirement plan? Are you planning to save up on something? What percentage of your salary are you planning to save every month? Physical health. Do you want to be a vegan? How much weight do you want to lose this year? Do you plan to maintain your good health until your old age? Mental health. Do you want to change anything in your mindset? What personality traits do you want to improve on? Leisure. Are there places that you want to visit? Chapter 11. Good habits and bad habits. Self-discipline is needed to break bad habits and create good ones. Once you start breaking your bad habits and forming good habits, you'll feel better about yourself, and you'll start having the confidence that you need. It makes you feel confident about yourself because you know that you are in control of your life. Habits are a big part of who you are as a person, but you have to remember that you are the one who makes them. It is in your power to either break free or start a new one. How can you tell if your habit is bad? Well, some of them are pretty obvious, like smoking, being late, and so on. Others are not so obvious. One way to tell if it is a bad habit is when it interrupts your life. For instance, browsing online before you go to bed for several hours without noticing it is a bad habit, because you do not get the right amount of sleep. Checking your phone while having dinner with your family is also a bad habit, because it stops you from having a meaningful conversation with them. The negative effects are not so obvious, but they surely affect your life in a negative way. Bad habits can ruin your physical or mental health, relationships, career, and other aspects of your life. They are also a waste of time, energy, and money. You might ask, now, then, why not just stop? Why keep doing these bad habits if you know they will only make your life miserable? Maybe you think it is as simple as that, but like most things in life, it is easier said than done. You probably know at least one person who has a bad habit. Maybe you have a bad habit that you're not aware of. Do you think it is easy for a smoker to simply quit smoking? Some can do it cold turkey, while others have to take little steps or they will suffer from withdrawal symptoms. To solve any problem in life, you first need to identify the root causes. Two major causes of bad habits. Stress and boredom are the two main culprits why people form bad habits. When you are bored or stressed, you will do something to alleviate that feeling, and before you know it, every time you feel bored or stressed, you will automatically do it without thinking. It could be biting your nails, binge eating, binge watching, and overspending, nonstop online browsing, and so on. There are two ways that a bad habit disrupts your life. First, you waste your time, energy, and money by doing these habits. You shop for things you do not need to cope with stress. You watch an entire series in one sitting because you feel bored. These are resources, money and time, that can be used doing something more productive. Another way that it affects you is that it becomes a tool for procrastination. The good news is that instead of dealing with stress and boredom in a negative and destructive way, why not teach yourself positive ways to cope? You can form good habits that will serve as a substitute for these bad habits. But before you do this, ask yourself if there is a deeper cause to your boredom and stress. Again, you have to still dig deeper and identify the root cause so that it can be addressed properly. Maybe the stress. Chapter 12. Live a life free from fear to achieve self-love. The main point of this book is to live life with self-confidence by eliminating fear, like how the Spartans and Special Operations Forces lived their life. Fear is a big deterrent and should be eliminated so that you can live with confidence and self-love. Here are some things that you should keep in mind to live a life free from fear and to learn to love yourself. Let go of preconceived notions. If you want to pursue a degree but are scared because you're already in your 40s, just stop worrying and go for it. Studying is not only for young people. There are already a lot of success stories about older adults who decided to go back to the university to pursue a degree. It's never too late to do anything you want. It's similar to fashion. Some colors are associated with different seasons. Bright colors for summer, pastel for spring, warm tones for fall, and neutrals for winter. Who says you cannot wear pastel in the fall season while eating hot cross buns? Sometimes these preconceived notions keep us from doing things, and the funny thing is, they sometimes do not make sense at all. So ask yourself, why am I doing or not doing this? Is it because society expects or does not expect me to do this? Think outside the box and reevaluate your life. Focus on what you can do. Instead of focusing on the things that you cannot do, why not focus on the things that you can? If you are afraid to speak in public because you feel like you're not that articulate when speaking, why focus on that? Instead, focus on your sincerity and genuine interest in the subject matter. If you're interested in what you're going to talk about, you'll learn how articulate you can be. By focusing on the things that you can do, you discover new talents that you do not know you have. Who would have thought that you can speak that well in public when you're talking about your advocacy? Turns out, you only need to find the right topic to be able to speak well in front of a lot of people. Learn more about the things that scare you. Fear comes from not knowing something. The fear of the unknown is real. The space is scary because man can only study a small part of it. It is the same thing with what's at the bottom of the ocean. It is scary because you do not know anything about it. If you're afraid of something, maybe you just need to learn more about the thing that scares you. For example, if you are afraid of flying, maybe you should do some research about the science behind airplanes and how they work. This way, you know that science is keeping it from crashing. You should also tell yourself that there are already so many people who have successfully traveled by air. Thousands of people travel by airplane every day. There are accidents, but it's just like any other form of transportation. Once you learn more about it, you might feel less scared next time you fly. Who knows? You might even enjoy air travel. Pick your battles. The things that you experience in life do not have equal importance. You need to know which ones you will tackle and which ones you'll just let go of. This has been Self-Confidence, the Spartan and Special Operations Way to Overcome Fear and Building an Elite Mindset. Written by Ryan Hunt, narrated by Russell Newton. Copyright 2021 by Akamind Inc. Production copyright by Akamind Inc.